What's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Disruption Podcast. This is episode 154. I'm Noah the Bag Daddy.
Every time I hear it, it's Chief Olusoji in the building, baby.
It's your girl, Moeezy.
What's happening is the Prince was good.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this episode around. Today we are actually joined by another guest. I told you we're coming with these guests back to back. Well, we've got the one and only Lauren McDonough. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hello. How you feeling? Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, how are you today? It's such a beautiful weather.
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
You know what he's doing right now? He's actually using this time to actually catch up since he missed out on all the conversation we've already been having.
I feel like you guys had such a good conversation.
Basically had a whole episode
Oh,
before.
no way. Oh, boy. Well, I guess we're going to have it another one.
Oh, my goodness.
No worries.
Well, yeah. Now, how are you feeling? How you been?
Yeah, good. I'm really good, thanks.
Yeah. What's the past, freedom months look like for you? When I say freedom months, I mean, how long do we think we've been free now, technically?
We'll be free for some time.
How long is that? Pretty much this whole year?
Yeah, pretty much.
I would say yes, since January.
So how's this nice time of we're finally
Freedom.
getting
Kinda
out?
lockdown,
Yeah. What's that been like for you?
It's been pretty scary. Not bad scary, just very I've kind of leaped into doing a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have done before all of this had happened. But it's also been absolutely incredible, and I'm just so grateful.
That's cool.
To have, been doing all I've been doing, pretty much. Yeah.
So what kind of new stuff, I guess, have you jumped into that you haven't done before?
Somehow got a modelling contract.
Ooh, nice.
So I've been doing some modelling shoots. I've been doing a lot of podcasts. I've been doing a lot of writing for different companies and sharing my story all over the world. I've been doing a lot of, I've always done this type of work, but really kind of delved into mental health advocacy. Been getting heaps of jobs out of that. Just doing all of that kind of stuff, and even some TV gigs too somehow.
Alright, so you've been active.
Very
since
busy, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
how do you prepare when you're what things do you have to go through when you're doing something new? Because obviously modeling and then our podcast, TV, what kind of mental state, what do you have to go through to prepare yourself for those kind of things?
At the start, it just happened really unexpected. Far out, I can't even.
Trust that. Don't worry, that word there's a problem.
Unexpectedly
Yeah.
and spontaneously, it just completely happened out of the blue, and I didn't really have time to think about it. I was like, "Oh, this is a great opportunity. I'll dive into this. I'll try this out," and then it just went pretty much bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
And it can be really nerve-wracking, and it can be at times exhausting too. But the mental state I try to get myself in before I do these type of things is that I wouldn't far out.
No, you
Wouldn't have been able to do these things a few years ago, and I think I just try to sit back and reflect on how far I've really come.
Yeah, wow.
That's that.
That's amazing.
When you say how far you've come, where's that from? In terms of what is that point that you think that you've come from in the past, however many years it's been?
So I live with depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, and 5 years ago, on the 9th of May 2017, I actually jumped in front of a train trying to end my life in a suicide attempt, and I lost my legs because of it. I fractured my lower spine, and I pretty much had to learn to walk again and do everything from scratch. So when I say I try to sit back and reflect on how far I've come, it's pretty much to do with that, because I never imagined I would have the life I have now back then. And I think it's just a true testament to how hard I've really, really pushed myself and worked to try to get where I am today.
Yeah, that is. Firstly, thank you for sharing, as well.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've been doing it a lot as well since then. But thank you for being able to share it on this platform too. That is definitely a big growth period of time, and
Yeah.
like that change or that transformation since then till now. You said 5 years. That's a long time, but also so much time to like grow and develop and like make these new connections and things like that.
Yeah.
What's kind of like facilitated that journey or like helped you through that kind of journey from there?
So even after I've lost my legs, I've still ended up in hospital for my depression, and I've still had to receive mental, or treatment for my mental health. But I think the thing that really facilitated this journey and really kind of gave me the spark to want to do what I do now is I remember how much pain I was in, and I know how hard it is, and I know how when you're in that headspace, it's extremely difficult to see absolutely any hope, any light, or any way out of the pain that person may be in. So I think my story can be maybe a story of hope for other people, but also after the way I have been treated within the mental health system and the way I've seen others being treated within our own mental health system too, it's really ignited the fire to try and change the way that mental health is viewed and treated in society as a whole.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting, like you say that though as well, because I mean, we were talking to someone just beforehand about how like, you know, we're in a very like progressive and like free country, but yet there's still so many different things that, like, I mean, it's just the nature of like society and humans in general. Like as perfect as we think we are, there's still so many like flaws and things to work on. What are those kind of like, I guess, issues within the system in terms of how people get treated? Like what is that for people that just don't know? Because for the most part, everyone looks at it from the outside and probably just wonders, like if you go to get help, like you're probably going to get it for sure and end up in a better place. But you don't realize how many different like changes or variations in treatment that there are in the system. So like, what are those issues that you can speak to at least?
I think there's still a lot of stigma around certain mental health diagnoses, complete misconceptions and misunderstandings of the people who say have X as a diagnosis, what their symptoms are and what they're experiencing and how they're feeling, where in reality what they're experiencing is actually different to what is perceived by professionals. And as much as it absolutely sickens me to say this, a lot of people within the system, whether it comes from different cultural backgrounds, whether it comes from say gender identity or sexual orientation and stuff like that, there's still a lot of let's just say it's not as always progressive as we think it is. I think people working within the system should always be learning and open to learning. There's actually one doctor that said to me, I've read all the textbooks you can for psychiatry, but the greatest gift I've ever received is learning from my patients. And I think it's that type of attitude that should be had if you're working in that type of field.
When it comes to the mental health side of things, because obviously I think I would say the majority of people are willing to accept that now it is a health issue. It's not like as much as physical pain in the chest is a health issue. Same thing with your mental health. I guess is the feeling when you do go in to get treated from doctors generally, is it like, do you get that feeling like they're like, of course they value and all that, but or is there still a little bit of feeling within the system itself of like we're confused as to what we're dealing with? When you know what I mean? Is that a thing?
I think it definitely is a thing. I can only speak from personal.
Yeah, of course.
I shouldn't be laughing at this. Personal experience. one doctor said I had this diagnosis, another doctor reckoned I had this diagnosis,
Right.
and then another doctor reckoned I had this diagnosis. So I wasn't actually getting treated for
The correct thing.
the correct thing.
Mm.
Because they were all arguing with each other about, no, I reckon she has this, and she was like this when I saw her, so she has this diagnosis. And a lot of the time, like, it's nothing to do with, like, a person's mental health. If somebody's frustrated and if somebody snaps at you, it can often be because of how someone's talking to you or how that person's being treated. It doesn't always have to do.
It's not the mental health issue triggering
It's not
that.
the mental
just
health.
the general human
It's just
interaction.
a general human interaction.
Yeah.
But sometimes if
Interesting. Okay.
it's known that you have a mental health issue
It's
and
attributed.
you're just frustrated and you're like, I've had enough, I'm not dealing with this anymore, they're like, no, it's this diagnosis.
Right.
Yeah.
So that can
Wow.
be really like counterproductive. And
I was gonna say I found that so interesting that different specialists is able to say no it's this, no it's that, compared to like some feeling in your body where you
Yeah.
can pinpoint like, oh, my arms hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is a little bit hard to kind of
Yeah.
pinpoint that.
yeah,
From
Yeah.
your own
Yeah.
experience, were you able to pinpoint exactly the feeling
True.
that you're coming, like the feeling that you're having? Were you able to pinpoint exactly why you're having that feeling?
mental health is something that runs in my family,
Right.
or mental illness is something that runs in my family. So it's kind of like a bit of for me, a genetic predisposition. So that basically means passed on. But I think what triggered it was trauma, along with high school bullying. And then, so it was just a combination of everything, and it kind of, stemmed from there.
Yeah.
Mm.
You say it's sorry. You
No, you go.
You said like obviously like it runs in the family. Like with previous generations in your family, were they? I'm guessing like obviously everyone's aware that it exists, but it's like were they open about dealing with it or talking about it for their cases?
So my grandmother, my dad's mum, had bipolar for over 70 years.
Over 70 years.
Wow.
So she passed away in 2019, and so she basically had it in a time where it was, well, it's stigmatized now,
Yeah, but
it was like, you don't talk about that.
yeah,
So she was always like a woman that was way ahead of her time, kind of thing.
wow.
She would speak about it. She was open about it. Her friends knew about it. Her family knew about it. She received treatment for it. Took medication for it. No shame.
That's
No
amazing.
shame in it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And she always said to me that you shouldn't be ashamed. She goes, if you had a stomach ache, you wouldn't be ashamed to have a stomach ache. You can't help it. I can't help it. Why should we have to apologize for this?
I love
True.
that.
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely.
And that was coming from, at the time, a 91-year-old
Yeah.
woman.
Wow.
I love that.
I've always said that like anthropologists are like people like studying how humans like interact and human behaviors.
Yeah.
Like the past 20 years is gonna be the most like they're gonna have so much to like look at and understand and study like 15 years from now or something, because
The
amount
wiring of society.
yeah,
is
the way
so
society's
different.
changed, the way behaviors, mentalities, thinkings, like what 15 years ago from now, it wasn't as widely accepted that mental like illness is a health issue. It's just like, okay, it's looked at or dealt with in a certain kind of way, and we're still a long way to go, like you said, now as well. But it's definitely so different from like 15 years ago. But like all those changes, people who are studying human behaviors, like right now, this period of time is going to be crazy for them.
Yeah.
The amount of like PhDs that have come out 15 years from now, just based on what we're like living in,
Topic. Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually so crazy
Yeah.
just to like observe and like see. I guess even in line with that, like, who, in terms of like external figures, do you see kind of like pioneering or paving ways in this type of like space or like conversation and things like that? Or are there are there even people in existence like that?
I think, although there, there's always going to be a need for mental health professionals like psychologists, psychiatrists, all of that kind of stuff. I'm
Of course.
not denying that, but I think it's slowly becoming more appreciated now is kind of real life experiences and people speaking up about their stories. You know, like even 4 or 5 years ago, not many people really did this kind of stuff. And I think there's something to be said from someone sharing their story and someone kind of putting in like their point of view to other people and stuff like that, because I think it's one thing to read a textbook, it's another thing to kind of hear someone's experience and really kind of take into consideration what they have to say, because a textbook is like not well, it can be a case study, but it's not like a real life case study. And I think it's just so important to do this kind of stuff, and I think this is starting to kind of pave the way a little bit.
For sure. I think like just hearing someone tell their story is also very like you can't rip apart the emotion from it. Like we just words on a page, it's like it's just words on a page, you know. But it's really hard to take away the emotion and the reality of the experience. I guess, like, and then you can stop me if if whatever the line of question isn't comfortable. But like, I guess you're mentioning like it was like you did attempt to suicide and all that. Like, what was, I guess, the like the leading up to point, right? Not necessarily what triggered that, but just like, I guess, what would have been going through your mind at that point, if you're comfortable talking on that. And then also after the fact, what was going through your mind then?
So leading up to that night, specifically, I had a diagnosis of, or at the time, of borderline personality disorder. That's a diagnosis that is extremely misunderstood and stigmatized. So pretty much within the months coming up to that, I became extremely unwell with depression again. Just became a lot worse. I became a lot more suicidal, couldn't get out of bed.
Right.
I was just, it's kind of like a really hard thing to explain, but I felt nothing, but I felt like I had billions and billions and billions of weights on top of my shoulders, suppressing down on every single bit of my organs. So it was like a feeling that it was just so mentally and physically painful. That wasn't my first attempt. I had attempts in my teenage years too. But at that time, I wasn't being treated for the depression, because with borderline personality disorder, they think therapy is the main treatment for it, and that therapy would have helped me. Therapy wasn't helping me. I needed to be back on antidepressants.
Right.
I needed treatment. Didn't get that. Actually saw the psychiatrist treating me at the time, the morning of this happening, and I collapsed on the floor and I was shaking and vomiting, and I said, "You need to do something, like seriously, I'm about to do something, like something seriously wrong. You need to do something like right now." And she just looked at me and she's like, "You have borderline personality disorder. You're not suicidal. This is just a threat." So I was already planning on doing that. But it was that was like, okay, well, not even
Right.
my psychiatrist can care about me. What's the point? And then that night,
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, that like juxtaposition that you put of like feeling nothing, but then feeling the weight of everything at the same time. Like, it sounds like that doesn't make sense, but it makes like all the sense when
It
you're like
really
really
does.
properly. Yeah, like in a very, very weird way. It makes all the sense when you deep it. Like almost like a, not speaking to your experience, obviously, I don't
Yeah,
want to
no.
speak for you, but like just in my understanding of that, it's almost like feeling like there's so much going on or around you or happening to you, but then also a feeling of like, and then what at the same time, like not like I deserve to have this happen
Yeah.
towards me, but just like a what can you do about it sometimes as
Yeah.
well. And it's just there's a very tight space to like be in, or very like constricting or confining environment to live in within your mind as well, rather, because it's not necessarily something happening physically to you, but it's like
Yeah.
that cage feeling happening mentally, and that's
Yeah.
that is very, very like wild to like think that someone has to wake up to and live with throughout their day
Yeah.
and put on a smile in certain social settings when that's what you're feeling like inside of
Yeah.
your mind or anything like
Yeah.
that. So it is pretty crazy.
I was just going to ask, after 9th of May, how was people's reaction around you? Example, yeah, again, I'll just start off with that one. How was other people's reaction, like your family, and then again going to the mental health specialist and psychiatrist?
So I was actually completely oblivious to this at the time. I left my phone at home, but my mum followed me down to the tracks, and yeah, she saw me get hit by the train, and I remember she was just screaming like, "It will stay with me forever." Like she was just screaming, like, and then my dad's a police officer. He was at work. He came racing to the scene of the accident, and my family is like extremely close, like we always have been.
Yeah.
But it will stay with me until the day I die. My dad was on my chest, hysterically screaming and sobbing, like, "You need to hold on for me. Like, you need to hold on. I need you here," and stuff like that. And it really, it didn't only affect me and my family. It affected everyone. Like, people I hadn't seen from school in years would send me flowers and message me. My best friends wouldn't leave my side. Teachers from school came in to visit me. Even the high school nun.
Yeah.
Came to
You would hope the high school nun would come as well.
Just
Though,
to
for sure.
I'm
Yeah.
like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like I'm here to tell my story, and I know, unfortunately, there are many people that aren't. But I think surviving something like that and living through it, and seeing people's reactions, I think it really goes to show how something like this truly affects other people. Like, you think people don't give a shit about you. When you're in that headspace, trust me, like, you're like, everyone will be better off without me. And even after that, it was really conflicting because I was living in a mind that wanted me dead 24/7, and in a body that had survived being in an induced coma, survived over 30 surgeries, a staph infection, so a blood infection, septic shock, my organs shutting down. And my body just refused to give up. And it was really conflicting during that time. It was like, well, why won't it just do it for me, kind of thing? Like, I know that sounds stupid, but now I have like this great love and deep appreciation for my body. But at the time, it was a really kind of torturous place to be in.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because people never actually think about like someone's mental state afterwards as well. Because it's like, yes, I'm here, but I still remember what, just occurred. And like you were saying, you're in your mind, you're trapped in there where it's like, I literally tried to end all of this, not long ago. I'm still here. It's like, do I keep fighting or do I not? So how was that? How was that whole journey, even just being in hospital for the months that you were?
It was, how do I word it? I'm a very stubborn person. And I wanted to give up more than anything. But at the same time, people kept telling me, like, you'll never walk again. You won't be doing this, you're that. And I heard it so many times that it made me kind of frustrated and so angry that I wanted to prove them wrong in the end. And that, in a strange way, that gave me like the determination to do things. So whether it was like, kneel, for example, on the stumps for the first time, or try a prosthetic leg on, or get a prosthetic leg made for the first time. Like I didn't want to do any of that, but I also was, in a strange way, really eager to do that and to see how all of that would be like.
Incredible.
On a practical sense, I guess, since then, so like how has been adjusting to the physical side of life after that? It's like, what is one thing that you have done that you're like, I really didn't think I was going to be able to do this, either again or at all, to be honest? Like, is there anything that you're like, wow, I really thought this wasn't going to happen and it has? Or
I think walking in general. I remember the first 5, 6, even 7 months, everyone was like, no, you're not going to walk again. And it was just surgery after surgery, skin graft after skin graft. And because of the damage I'd done, I guess when people say you can't do stuff and you hear it so often, it starts to become your reality and you start to believe that. So at the start, I genuinely never thought that would happen again. But then one day, I remember when about a year on, when I got my first pair of prosthetic legs, I stood up in between 2 rails, and my physio and my prosthetics team was like, hang on, just give us a second. Just stand there. We just got to double check something. They turned their backs, and I was like, you know what? My language, fuck this. And I just started walking up and down, up and down, up and down. And they're like, you can't be doing that. And I'm like,
I clearly
Here I am doing it.
And another example was, I used to do a lot of swimming when I was younger. And my physio was like, you can't swim. And I'm like, yes, I can. I got to pull at home. I swim all the time. She goes, well, no, you can't. You have to show me blah, blah, blah. So I went to hydrotherapy with her just to, at the time, shut her up.
Yeah, appease her.
And she gave me these bloody floaties and a paddleboard. I'm thinking,
disgusting.
I used to do swimming squat 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The disrespect.
So she's like, okay, try. And I'm like, I was being stupid. And then I'm like, okay, Helen, watch this. And I just did 50 meters within less than a minute with 2 missing legs. She's like, okay, no, you don't need swimming lessons. I told you so.
Yeah.
So it really does pay to be stubborn in those instances. Yeah, you have to.
In a practical sense, with swimming there, excuse my ignorance, so it's
go for it.
do you, so is it no legs, no prosthetic legs at all in the pool? And so then you're kicking with
just
what's remaining?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's some arm strength.
I was going to say, so it's all arm strength,
Yeah.
pretty much. Okay.
But swimming
swim,
is
bro.
actually all arm strength
Yeah.
anyway.
That's true.
Because I've done those. Yeah, I've done those drills where it's like you don't use your
Can't
legs
kick.
at all, and you
Yeah.
have to just literally
And it's
do
all
free.
rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, right? Yeah.
How far you go?
Oh, you keep going, man.
Nah, I'm talking about you.
Yeah, no,
I can keep going.
I'm not talking about her. She probably go
She
like
did
this.
50 meters. You did
25.
So I was just gonna ask. Were you gonna ask something? And I was just gonna ask, the shift in mentality that you had, from 5 years ago up until today. So, what kind of shift mentality did you have to keep going every day?
So trust me, some days and some months. This is probably a couple of years ago. I spent 6 months in bed, in the dark, every day, not eating, not drinking. barely able to shower myself, anything like that. And in those really, really dark times, I'm going to refer back to my grandmother again. She said to me one day, whenever I had a really, really bad depressive episode, I used to think of this. I used to think of the time the sun rose, and I loved that experience. I used to think of the time I laughed with my kids, and that made me extremely happy. I used to think of the times where I ate my favourite food, and I loved it. It was like, I used to think of like family Christmases and how much it excited me and made me like full of joy seeing everyone's faces and stuff like that. And she said, and I remember all the times I wanted to give up, I used to think of those experiences, and I used to ask myself, what if? And she said, I used to think, okay, today's a shit day, but what if tomorrow is better? What if, you know, I'm able to get up tomorrow and I might still feel bad, but I'm able to sit on the chair and I'm able to eat food and, you know, enjoy the sunlight and stuff. She goes, if you have that what if in your mind and you try and think of things that you want to do or that you've wanted to do, it kind of gives you that spark and that hope to kind of imagine that maybe tomorrow might be a better day. And that's what kept me going, like, during those times. It kind of really gave me the hope that, you know, things might be really bloody shit now, but, you know, like, what if things get better?
Which they will as well.
Yeah.
And now, today, what things do you do on a daily basis that has positive contributions to your mental health?
My dogs are always really positive
What are the names?
for my mental health. India and Zara.
Shout out Indian Zara. Yeah.
So taking the walk, the dog.
Oh, I
for a
can't walk
every
them. I can't walk them. No, I collapse into the ground. They pull me.
They pull you? Yeah, okay, yeah. Getting way too excited and that. Yeah.
Feel like that.
Oh, no, stop that.
do
Yeah,
that.
Right,
yeah.
okay, isn't that just amazing about dogs? Like, they don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't be able, like, to them, they're just like,
But
oh,
they
it's
do
mum.
know.
And like,
They do know.
Oh, yeah,
do
right.
know.
They do.
My oldest one, Indy, so they're two long-haired German Shepherds.
Okay.
So
Oh,
they're
big dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indy was only a puppy when my accident happened, and Mum and Dad brought her in to see me in hospital because I wouldn't shut up about it to the nurses. The nurses were like, bring her in. So she came in, and the first time she saw me without legs, she actually jumped into my arms and started howling.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Oh, wow.
And ever since that day, she has been by my side, like, if, like, next to me in bed, or if I'm on the toilet, she's right there.
She's like, hey, yo.
If I'm in the shower,
Yeah.
hi,
Yeah.
here I am.
So what are you doing there? Let me get involved. Yeah, what's happening? Yeah, yeah.
There's space for two.
But she knows, like, she jumps on everyone else to say hello. She knows not to jump on me. Like,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah, wow.
just
Wow.
really
Sweet.
adapted and picked up on
Yeah.
things. But Sarah, she's only like 6 months old, so
Still fresh.
So what feeling do you get when you're just laying there in bed in the dark and then the dog comes in to lay next to you? Does it change anything when you're laying there?
makes me feel not alone. In a strange way, like, I know it's a dog, but like, she's saved my life. She's just given me this genuine love and understanding, like, in my darkest moments. That, yeah.
I mean, they do say dogs are like a man or woman or, you know, people's best friend type of thing. I was going to say, what about like in terms of your family? Because you did mention before that you guys have always been close.
Yeah.
Did this like whole experience change anything? Did you guys like become closer, or what was that like for you guys?
Or even the rifts that it probably also
I was going to
potentially
say,
might have
did
created.
anyone not blame anyone else, but was anyone kind of like, why didn't you do something? Why didn't you
Take the blame on themselves, maybe?
Okay, that's beautiful.
No.
Yeah.
I think emotionally it affected us all very differently at different stages.
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been like a level
Yeah.
headed.
Yeah.
Well, not level headed, that's not the right word. But like,
Just like a constant. or
yeah,
anything like that,
constant,
yeah.
you know, constant straight. It's been like, up, down,
Yeah.
up, straight, down. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Mm.
It's been a journey, and to be honest, it's still going to be a journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's made us a lot closer. I think it's made us appreciate each other a lot more, and it's just kind of given us a deeper appreciation of the things like laughter with each other and, you know, even just morning coffees with each other and stuff like that. I think it's just the small things that we've really tried to embrace since then and not take it for granted.
That's what I find craziest about life as well, right? Like, you hear it time and time again, but it still never like solidifies in your mind of like, it's the small things that matter. It's the little moments, the little relationships, all that kind of stuff, right? Because, you know, like what your grandmother said is like so powerful and beautiful to hear ultimately as well, where it's like remembering things like favorite food, remembering things like sunsets and like family time, all that kind of stuff there. Like, it's pretty wild that, like, even in line with this whole hope thing, that is so powerful enough to like actually pull someone out of a potential state of just like, you know, nothing matters at all. Like nothing else is still important enough. Like, it's crazy how these little things are the ones that are like, yeah, that's the strength, that's the hope, that's the force that like pulls us into more like, no, you know what, this is worth
Sometimes
keep going.
the smallest things can become the biggest things.
And I feel like
It's
most
not-
times that really is just the reality of it, because
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast, and like there was a comedian on there, and he was talking about how like you know, he's getting success, he's making it in life, all this kind of stuff, like things are going well for him, right? And he's like, he went on a holiday with his wife, and it was something as simple as watching the sunset on a hill was just the most powerful moment. And he's just like, yo, I've done all of this, but I couldn't even have created like this. I couldn't like as much as I've experienced all this crazy stuff, I'm still so tiny in this whole grand scheme of life. Like, look how beautiful a sunset is. And it's like, that was such a humbling moment, but it's still such a like driving force at the same time of like, yo, life is beautiful. Like, there are these things in life that like we can't take it for granted, like you mentioned before. It's like, it's just crazy. Like, it's these little things that it sounds so cliche and corny, like I said, because we hear it so many times.
But it's
like,
really the stuff that makes life have its value.
it's wild.
100%.
Yeah.
I love the nature.
Even I think we saw something recently about how like there's just a lot of like violent acts in some certain like cities, and like we've seen so many people like lose their life to like such senseless crimes and things like that, and it just becomes so like what's the word I can use?
It's not normal. It's like it's just happening. Like, just desensitized.
Yeah,
to
like
the
almost
value
us
of life.
forgetting
Yeah.
how beautiful like this thing is, and like the fact that like other people are also like allowed to experience a beautiful life too.
Like, seeing all of what's happening in the world at the moment, like, of course it hurts, and of course, you know, you're hurting for those people, and you wouldn't wish it upon anyone. But I think it's also important for, say, us here, for example, to really appreciate what we do have and what we
I mean, it's very true that we do have to appreciate it, because if we're saying like, you know, we don't wish that on anyone, like the things that we're seeing happening, we're also kind of the people that are in position to be able to help other people like that. So it's like, if we're not able to firstly come from appreciating like what we have, like we don't have the power to be able to now help other people as well, because being able to appreciate and having that gratitude is what actually helps us to now like elevate or get to a position where like, I bet this is what we have. Okay, this is how we can help other people or bring them to the same kind of leveling and things
Are
like
we
that.
living in times though that makes it hard to appreciate that stuff? Because like for a lot of us, it's like wake up, you know, you're going to work, you're going to school, you're doing whatever, and it's like we actually don't have moments in the day where we actually can sit down and enjoy the sunset type of thing. So it's like, how do you now? Because a lot of people also like they'll wait for like something to, you know, go bad, and then all of a sudden like we'll be like, okay, we appreciate you know, our loved ones, we appreciate, you know, the little things in life, but it's like, how do you do that now, even just like currently?
Because I've said this before, I'm not a person that's good at that, like just taking the breaks and all that. But when you really think about it, it's like, what's actually stopping you from, like, sure, life is fast paced, life is all that, but it's like, let's say I love the sunset, right? I can check every day what time the sunset's going to happen. And
but you're not gonna want to wake up every
before sunrise or
every morning, you know.
Yeah, but like, as in you
There's
can
actually nothing stopping you from
like it's a decision as well, right? Or it's like, I think I've said this a bunch of times, like for me it's like one of the things that just, it's the only thing that makes me not think about anything else is to play soccer, right? It's like that's it, right? So I'm like, I actually do want every week at least one time set aside some time for that and enjoy
Yeah.
that, you know?
At least you got a highlight there for the week.
Yeah, like nothing's
Makes you
stopping you
happy.
from doing that. I did want to ask, like, okay, so you're in hospital, all that. Once I don't know if instantly you're like, I feel like good food or something, but when you did start feeling like food, what was the first thing that you were like, hey, I really want this, right? Like I'm craving this.
Big fat juicy burger.
Come on, let's
I feel
go.
like that right now too.
I think I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars
Yeah,
over
wow.
the so I think 4 or 5 months I was in hospital
Yeah.
for on Uber Eats because of food so
Yeah.
rubbish.
Yeah, hospital food's
And I
not
was,
good.
and I was
it's
sick
not.
of the little the little
jobs.
nutrient drinks and stuff that they gave
Electrolytes.
me. Oh,
Yeah.
The jelly and the ice cream, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
nah,
Get
It-
over it.
Yeah.
you're silly. You're gonna eat that for that. amount of
Oh,
This is how I know I'm a fat
I know I
ass,
should
though.
be grateful for
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
no, I mean, no, fair,
It's not
completely
ideal.
fair. But this is how I know I'm a fat ass. I'm like, yo, salt and pepper will change any meal. Like airplane food, I love it. Hospital food, like I'm like, let me just slap some salt and pepper. Like it's
Come on.
wait. Airplane food has been like it's been a lie that it's not good.
It's good, yeah.
Every time I've flown recently, I'm like, bro, if you don't want that, I'll
I'll
take
take it. I've never had only one portion when it comes to airplane food. I've taken my sisters as
My
well.
mom
I've
doesn't.
flown in like 7 years, so
Yeah, wow, yeah.
Is is that because it's hard to, or just like there's been no reason to? Obviously, COVID, everything. Like,
I just haven't
I
thought
thought-
about it.
so I lost my like 5 years ago, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But just haven't had the chance to.
Yeah.
Well, I have, but not really. You know.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, 2 out of those 5 years literally was just none of us going anywhere. So like, there's that.
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2 out of the last 5 years has been under like lockdowns and all that. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, we all went through lockdown and experienced it. Had our highs, had our lows, had whatnot. But obviously, you're going through the recovery of this whole thing. I mean, at that point, I assume life had returned to some sort of normalcy. But I guess was it even harder, you think, going through lockdown? Or do you think you experienced it just like everyone else?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
As much as I love my family,
Yeah.
it was really hard having everyone home
Yeah.
for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah. Okay, so you experienced it just like everyone else.
It's like, yeah.
Did you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a younger sister.
Oh, fun. Younger siblings. They're
Everyone's-
always fun.
Oh man, long
Do you
time.
have siblings?
I do. I forgot for a second. I have 2 younger brothers, older sister, and an older brother.
Big
But
fan.
I'm only with the 2 younger boys. And it's like during lockdown, everyone was just in their own rooms. Doors were shut. Like, don't bother me. I'll see you in the kitchen. If we're like, you know.
I think they had COVID.
there.
I don't know.
Kind of in line. Oh, you got some?
Yeah, I just got.
There you go. I was gonna say, in line with kind of like what Noor mentioned, it's a very interesting question of like, you know, when did you first start like, okay, like I
Craving
want-
life
yeah,
again.
Yeah,
almost.
I was gonna say like how did you feel when it came down to like starting to like I deserve to enjoy life again, right? Like, is there any sometimes like thoughts of like guilt or feelings of like undeservingness when it comes to like, you know, you've come from a point in time or like where you were mentally, gone through the trough of it,
Don't want to be alive.
pretty much coming from like not wanting to be alive, right, to going and thinking that no one cares about you. Now you realizing, yo, like I actually do have like an importance in everyone's life, right, or the people around you, right? And then coming through that and then going, okay, I deserve to actually enjoy life again. What does that like look like, and how do you even what are the feelings when you start to you know what I mean, like that mental
Yeah,
battle,
yeah.
like from where you were and now feeling like, no, I actually deserve to enjoy this again. Like, what does that feel like mentally?
So every single day, this probably sounds. How do I word it? There's this little voice in the back of my head that says, "You're not deserving. You're not worthy. It's like the background noise of the depression. It's constantly there. So every single day, I feel like I'm not worthy. because of the depression. But there came a time in my life where I got so sick and tired of my own BS and the way I was feeling and the way my life was, that it made me want to change. And that's kind of where I am today. Well, I'm always feeling like unworthy because of the depression. I also want to create change for others, and it gives me the drive, the determination to keep going.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I was just going to say, like, as a parent, no matter like what the situation is, we also want that reassurance, right? So in your case, 5 years later, do you feel like not just your parents but the people around you, are they still looking for that reassurance, or is it more of like, this is what happened, now we're here to support you, or is it more of like, I just want to make sure that's never gonna happen again? Are they always looking for that reassurance, or is it more of we've accepted what has happened?
It's probably a bit of both, actually. I've got an incredible group of friends. We've been friends for over 10 years. Like, they're the type of friends that if I don't answer their text messages, they'll turn up at my doorstep.
That's awesome.
I love
If
that.
You guys aren't like that with me, man. That's
Oh,
crazy.
You don't answer our text messages at all.
Two of my best friends, Holly and Caitlin,
Shout
I
out.
had no idea they were over. I was in the shower. I opened my ensuite door, come out, and they're sitting in my bed. I'm like,
Yeah, where's the
What are you
privacy?
They're like, we think you should wear this and this.
No, but they're the type of friends that you can see each other 24/7,
Yeah.
or you can go months without seeing each
Beautiful.
other.
Yeah.
You can always pick up where
Yeah.
you left off.
That's
So
it.
great.
You
Yeah.
support one another no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think Holly, Caitlin, and I have been best friends since the start of year 7. So far out. I'm 24 now. I'm trying to do the math.
That's 6, 4,
God.
7. Bro, you know you can't do maths.
Wait,
That-
year
did
7
you graduate
would have been
2015?
2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as us.
Same,
So how
yeah.
long have we been friends, dog? What, 10 years?
Yeah.
No? Yeah, I think it's 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Right? 11 years now, right? Yo, the
something-
maths is
something like
hard.
that.
I think it's 11 years. We'll go with 11.
But, you know, it's something like that.
It's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but as a whole group, we've
Yeah.
been through, a lot. We're like the real life version of the Friends, like our group, because it's the 3 girls and the 3 boys.
Yeah.
Love that.
So when we asked you before, do you like
Yeah, this
friends?
is
And you were
why.
like, the answer was yes.
So your answer is combination of both. So obviously wanting that reassurance and also accepting what has happened.
Yeah, accepting what has happened, loving me for, loving me for who I am,
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah.
and always being there.
Yeah.
The highs and the lows.
Yeah.
But I think they also want to be there because they want to support me, and they also don't want what happened happening again.
Yeah.
Do you think that part of reassurance is going to be removed? So then now, moving forward, it's like, I'm not here because reassurance. I'm here because I want to support you. Do you think it will get to that point?
Or like, does it even have to?
Or does,
As
does
well.
it have to go? Does it
I
have
think
to?
it's
Yeah.
for all of us. It's wanting to support each other, like, no matter what. But I think with everyone, it's kind of like a kind of reassurance thing that we also want to check up on each other and
Yeah.
make sure everyone's okay.
Yeah, of course.
If that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
No, I agree. Because even just in general, it's like if I'm asking my friend, like, how are you? You know, I actually care. You know, that you're doing okay, whether, you know, I know that you've been going through something or not, but it's just like that genuine friendship where it's like, I want to make sure you're okay, you're going to make sure I'm okay. And that's like a everyday type of thing, not like a, you know, I'm only asking to make sure that, you know, like you're all good. Like, do you get what I mean? It's just more of like a I care for you, you care for me type of thing, not like a transactional or anything like that. But yeah, I think that is a beautiful thing for sure.
I'd say that's where like life is meant to like transform into as well, though, because it's pretty crazy that it takes sometimes like very drastic situations or like very like alarming situations in order for us to get to a point where we're like, okay, I actually care for you because of who you are and who you, like, and what you mean to me, compared to caring for someone only when things are a bit like dark sometimes. Like, it'll be like that positioning where like your family is at now, or like the people around you, where it's like they just care for you because they just care for you and you're important to them. That's ultimately where we're meant to be in like communities and
100%.
societies, but
Should be,
it's just not the reality.
But it's just part
You know
of
what
us
I mean?
as human beings, where it's like the moment I know you're going through something,
That's when.
it's like
That's
I'm
when
there.
yeah.
And now I
Turn
know
it
you're
off,
good.
yeah.
Now it's like,
Yeah.
alright.
Yeah,
It's difficult to develop that kind of a system or society where that is just the case, because it's like it takes you being able to not necessarily pause your life, but stop caring. I don't want to say stop caring about, but like forget about your life for 2 seconds and like actually care and worry about someone else's, even if nothing's happening just yet, like just for the sake
right,
of
yeah.
it. And it's like that takes effort, that takes time, and it's actually like emotionally it takes effort as well. And I think that's probably just why it's just not the norm, you know, in society. And sometimes it's like for most people it just doesn't look as important to how their life progresses, because it's like if I don't check on you even when I think everything's all good, then fine, I'll just keep doing my life, you keep doing yours, and we should be able to, you know, be successful together. But it's like to be able to have that effort or that care to think about other people regularly while still doing your life, it actually takes a certain level of like obviously emotional intelligence, but effort and time as well, and energy too. So
But also depends, because some people don't need to be checked up on.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, nah, man, I do. You know what I mean? But
Everyone should.
yeah, which is crazy. Talking about the space that you're currently in at the moment, right? Because again, you're doing quite a lot of stuff. How do you still stay true to yourself whilst, you know, being on those platforms?
Or even another lead up is like, how do you not feel like you're just like a spokesperson or you know what I mean? Like a plug or an advocate or something. Like advocacy is cool, but
Like
when people just look at you
humanity
just
first,
as only that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it's important for me to, no matter what I do, stay true to myself and who I am. So for me, it's kind of share my story, but also being a bit like silly and having a laugh about it too, because I laugh at, like, I shouldn't do this, but like I laugh at the situations I'm in most of the time, even if they're really crappy situations. Like I can't take myself seriously. And I think what I've learned through all of this is it's so important not to take absolutely every tiny thing too seriously, because if you do, you're just going to be stuffed. In the end, like it's important to take a step back and be like, well, that happened, and like, oh my God, that happened. But also at the same time, you know, have a joke with your friends about it, or have a joke with your family about it, and have a laugh about it, because I think, to me, it's kind of really important to implement that while doing the type of work I do. Because if I'm so serious about it 24/7, and it is a serious topic, and I'm not like trying to deny that, but you have to kind of break it up, because if you're serious about it 24/7 and everything's like advocacy work. Well, I love doing it, and while it's so important for me, I also, if I did it 24/7 every single day, I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. It really needs to break it up.
I think that definitely makes sense, because like as much as it is empowering for other people, and like it is just your story to share as well, right? It does now sometimes also become like that kind of like almost like trap feeling again, because it's like that's just constantly what you're, as much as it's good to remind ourselves of things that we go through too, it is also sometimes good to be present in where my life is at now and where it can go to as well. And like constantly living in those moments sometimes, as much as it's helpful to like other people and even to ourselves to remind ourselves of it, it can also be quite crippling if we are stuck in just that moment.
Life's moving forward, but you're still thinking only about
or like being put in positions where you just have to constantly put yourself back into those things. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, it's definitely good to remind ourselves of situations or things we've been through, like I said, to empower other people, but also to show ourselves how far we've come in some things. But if that's just the constant like environment that we live in mentally as well, it really does cripple how we experience the current moment, or like, I guess, how we can continue to progress as well. So,
Last year I did a for Suicide Awareness Day, I think for Channel 7 News. And the cameraman that came to film that segment, well, believe it or not, was actually there the night of my accident.
Wow, yeah.
So some idiot decided to call the journos and stuff, say, oh my God, this person. So of course they came, started filming it. My dad nearly punched him in the face, to be honest, because they all started lining up, filming what was happening. Not on, but he was there. He remembered that. And we were laughing about it. Like, it was a serious topic. It was a serious night. We were laughing about it. We still, you know, have contact with each other. And I think it's so important to, well, what happened isn't a joke. Like, you know, we're laughing that the last time, you know, he saw me was when my dad was about to lose it because, you know, he shouldn't be filmed. But he didn't know that at the time. And I think it's just you kind of have to have a light heart about those type of things too sometimes.
It's interesting. I have heard the the whole you gotta laugh at that kind of stuff, because I've got a coworker whose sister was diagnosed with some sort of cancer a couple years ago, and it's like he'll joke about it sometimes, and I'm like, oh my God, like that's not funny, but he's like, no, it actually helps the whole family cope. You know, and I was like, oh, it's quite interesting. Like, I get it.
No's pulling up to the dinner with jokes about it.
They're just like, what are you doing?
Only weekend.
I do want to get into your whole modeling thing. So you're signed to an agency or with an agency?
Yes.
All right. So is modeling something that like you've always wanted to do, or like more recently you're like, I want to do this, try this new thing, or?
I was in lockdown and I was on Zoom with my friends. We're having a drinks night. And I was like to my best friend, there's this modelling agency now and it's for, you know, say people with disabilities or, you know, it's an inclusive modelling agency. And it's in Australia now, it's in the UK, US kind of thing. And I'm like, do you dare me to sign up for it?
You dare me.
She goes, yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Everything goes if it's a sip night.
We're doing it.
Wow.
And I forgot I actually did it. And then about a month and a half later, I got a phone call saying, we would like to take you on for the, you know.
Lovely.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then just went from there. But I really enjoy it.
Okay, cool, yeah.
I think it's really empowering, and I think it's good to see people like with disabilities and from people from different walks of life modelling, you know, real body shapes and real bodies instead of just, you know, what we've grown up seeing.
Yeah. That's cool. That's very cool.
Out of like all these different things that you are like, I guess, involved in now, there's two different ways I can go with this. Let me just start with the easy side. What's like the most enjoyable, like more fulfilling things that you do?
I think they're all fulfilling in different ways.
Yeah.
Everything I do now is like I love doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm passionate about it. And I can't really, you know, pinpoint one thing. To be honest, but I think it's I think just knowing maybe collectively that I might be making a difference to others. That kind
Through
of.
all of it, yeah, cool. Well, it kind of answers the second question, because I was going to be like, is there anything that you're involved in and you see the importance of it, but it also is like a bit tiring or like tedious being involved in it, but you see the importance of it at the same time as well? Probably not then.
Sometimes, because I've done my advocacy work started from social media, to be honest. And I always want to try to help others, and I always try my best to do so. But sometimes, just social media in general, I just wish, like, I think it's a great thing when it's used correctly and it's powerful. And when you use it for a, you know, great purpose, that's fantastic. But at the same time, when you're on it and you're scrolling and you're scrolling and you're scrolling and you see, you know, this thing and that thing happening, you're just like, why does this shit even exist? Like sometimes,
Like, who created this? let me chat to their manager.
no, but sometimes I see the power in it and the purpose in the world it has, and I'm grateful for it. But sometimes I also wish I never grew up with it. I think just as a whole, like imagine your teenage years without social media and you didn't have to worry about it, and there was, you know.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about social media, because I feel like that's kind of like almost what pretty much collectively, like not just we here, but we in terms of a generation feel and think. We're all like, this is beautiful, this is amazing, but far out, man, this thing is dragged.
Social media.
It's like, you're annoying, I don't like what you're saying, these people are fighting, now I'm hearing about all of this going on here, and it's just like, it's so beautiful, but at the same time, I feel like we all just collectively are like, yo, like if it just didn't exist, it might be all right.
I get scared when I like do advocacy work on social media because I want to help people, of course, but at the same time, there's always some idiot in the background. I think I've had a few comments lately. One of them was like, play stupid games, what the fuck do you expect, you stupid F and this.
Yeah, wow.
And it was like this long paragraph like that. And I was just like, not what I needed to hear today, but, you know, thank you. Like, there's people like that. But then I look back and I think, well, there's also people that could benefit from this. And that's what's important.
I was going to say, because I've been following you on social media for a while, and like you on our off-air chat, you were talking about how you're pretty open to like on your page and all of that stuff. And recently I was baffled with one of the posts how you like chucked up a video and like you had all those nasty comments just going, and I was like, people are actually so rude. Like, was that something that you considered before? Because obviously once the story is out there, you don't have control over the type of comments that you're going to get or the type of idiots that do come on there and like say all these nasty things. Was that something that you had to like kind of think about, or did you even like think about it at all? Or do you think that people would actually say? Because I was like, why? For me, when I did first come across your story with Mel, shout out to Mel, when she had you on the podcast, and I was like, no, I don't know how people, like, where do you get thoughts like that? Or even just, I guess a lot of these accounts are burner accounts where people are like making fake accounts and then they'll come, but sometimes some people do use their real one. But it's like the fact that someone would make such a comment like that and then put it under your post and have the confidence to do it. But I guess like, did you ever think about like all of that would come with putting your story out there?
Well, I did actually. I experienced a lot of bullying in high school. Good old Qme.
Yes.
I was like, yo, what's Q?
Yeah.
Qme.
The anonymous, anonymous
private
questions
calling,
one.
school, everything, just home, social media, all of that kind of stuff. I think whatever you do in life, you're always going to get people that aren't going to like it. But you can't let that worry you.
Exactly.
If you enjoy it, if it brings you happiness and it makes you excited, that's all that matters. It doesn't need to make sense to anyone else.
Yeah, I love that.
Speaking of Qme, this is obviously another side thing right now. You guys realize like social media always has this ask me questions once in a while.
They have
like
one recent, like currently.
Now it's Not Gonna Lie or NGO, whatever it is.
What's the one now?
NGO? Is it
NGO,
not? I'm
Not
assuming
Gonna
it's
Lie.
Not Gonna Lie.
Yeah, it's Not Gonna Lie.
Is it?
And then Saraha.
Apparently, which meant in Arabic apparently means to
Truth.
be honest. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay, right.
Yeah.
So you have this time.
We always have these phases where like, I don't know what it is.
Bro, literally the last 2 weeks, I was on Instagram and I'm like, what's all this question thing happening? Like, what is all this? Trying to get used to
Bro, I used Qme just to see if my crush liked me. I swear that's all we all use it for, that kind of stuff there. Like, ooh, hey, what's your, do you like anyone at
Do you
like
like anyone?
XYZ high school?
You know,
Do you like anyone?
do you like Daniel? Ew.
Or,
Do you like anyone in your class? That's how you
Specifically sitting in the back row. though.
It's like we all know that they're bad news, but we tend to
It's
still
entertaining.
want to, like gravitate.
100%.
'Cause we want to know what we don't know, man. That's what we're trying to find out.
When I
Yeah.
was off social media, it was the best time of my life, man.
When you're off.
Yeah, bro.
Oh yeah, remember this
I
one
was-
was off for ages.
Yeah.
Man, I was off for a while, man. I remember like,
Did you scroll through the apps at all? Or?
yeah.
So he used to get his
Like-
hit by going through our podcast account.
No,
So like,
not even. Not even.
he would get his social media
we had
hit.
messages. We had messages.
Yeah,
alright?
which we were between the three of us, we could handle.
No, when I went on, no one's replying anyway. But yeah, I remember like I first deleted I didn't delete the app actually. I just
Signed out.
deactivated. And then every day I'll find myself going into the app and I'm like, oh, I don't have it anymore. Right?
What was your reason for deactivating?
I don't know. I didn't like social media then. Like it was so noisy around that time, right? So I'm like, I don't want this. So then I deleted the app, but I still find myself going to exactly where the app was on the phone.
Yeah.
And then it took me like 2-3 months to kind of completely forget I have Instagram. And then now, like when no one go on social media or like go on Instagram, I'm like, oh,
I have that.
Instagram it still exists.
Yeah.
But
It's
then I
still
also have
there.
to come back into it. But again, it's all about like just filtering your feed and everything as well. You know, again, we can only try. You know, but there's always that negativity that'll always come up there.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to ask as well, right? You mentioned that you're currently living with PTSD, was it? Yeah. Was that prior to like 5 years ago, or like from then?
Both.
Both? Okay. What? Because I've just never been able to actually like speak to it on like directly as well, or even took the time to probably learn properly. Like, what is that kind of like experience like?
Okay, so I'll try it. It's probably like a really weak analogy.
Yeah.
So say for example you, I don't know, got mugged overseas and, you know, held at knife point or whatever, and you experience post-traumatic stress disorder from that. It's kind of like reliving that experience over and over and over and over and over again. So when you have a flashback, it's basically like you're taken back to that exact moment where the event happened, but it's in real time. So that's like, does that make any sense?
Does that
Yeah.
feel out of body almost?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like that, but with nightmares,
Okay.
you have, well for me, the nightmares are being struck by a train and I'll wake up
Wow.
and I'll be in sweats and everything like that because I think that it's happening again. I know it's not.
Yeah.
It's just,
So so the PTSD can even like seep into like
Subconscious.
your subconscious or your unconscious,
or even
awareness
like
or whatever.
even like a certain sound or
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, true. I remember
Yeah.
being around. We had family that. So I'm from Iraq, and
Yeah.
while everything was going down, like decade ago or something, we had family who had one, like the father was kidnapped and all this like ransom stuff and all whatnot, right? And his wife was like so traumatized by the sound of any phone call, like any ringtone, because it would just remind her of when she was getting calls for like, yo, we want this much, or we're gonna send you a finger, or this much, you know, all that kind of stuff. Oh, wow. And like I heard about it, like my mom, I was young when we went to see them, and my mom warned me, like, you know, like, just by the way, like the family's been through this. And while we were there, I think somebody else's phone rang. It wasn't mine. I was too young for a phone. But someone else's phone rang, and I saw this woman like just
jump out of her body kind of thing.
not like, but while in her seat, but I could just tell like she just couldn't hear anything anymore. She could. It was like, I was like, it was tough to watch someone go through that. So I'm like, I can't imagine what it's like to go through that.
I'm fortunate I don't experience it as often as I did. So it's very rare compared to what it was. But I think when you go through something like that, it definitely stays with you.
Yeah.
I guess this is the importance of like the whole sharing story thing, because someone like that will probably feel like, yeah, I'm actually alone in this experience, and because no one, for the most part, like the people around you don't necessarily experience the same. Like they don't know what that feels like, right? And I think pretty much like no one else in the world will actually ever know what anything feels like for how we experience different things, which is the craziest part. But a lot of people can get close to understanding at least, right? And that is that whole importance of being able to like have conversations like that, or like allowing ourselves to be open to sharing some of the parts that we feel like the darkest or the hardest to share as well, because like if not, then we're just stuck in only our experience of it and like stuck in just like our world, and we don't realize how much bigger the world actually is. And I guess the beauty in how someone else has worked through something too, because we just feel like we're alone or trapped in a cage. So it is, I guess, did you have to get like support in terms of other people who like experience PTSD as well to help you, like, I guess you're still experiencing it now, but like help you get better as well? Like, did you have to meet these types of people too, or just so how was that treatment?
Just mainly therapy.
Yeah.
Different
Does that help?
Yeah.
Can you be medicated for PTSD?
Yeah.
Or you can. Okay.
So much, man. There's so much to learn and experience.
So much that I don't know. So I'm just like,
Yeah, there's so much out there.
It really just makes you ultimately like grateful for life at the end of the day too, and like
100%.
grateful for other people, grateful for yourself
Yeah.
too, because like there's so many different ways that this thing pans out, and like that's the chaos and the beauty of it at the same time. But like, yeah, man, it really just
I was
give
gonna
you that
say
step
along,
back. Yeah.
along in terms of like, I also need to learn a lot of stuff and educating ourselves. Did you feel like you also had to educate yourself in terms of what it is that you're going through?
Yes and no. I kind of so growing up with it and being hospitalized with it as a teenager, I kind of knew about it. I kind of knew other people experienced it, and I kind of learned, I've learned a lot from like my hospitalizations on different mental illnesses and how they affect others. But yeah, I guess I did also have to learn a bit about it, because at the start you're like, what the freaking hell's going on with me, kind of thing. And it's, I think the more you read into it, sometimes it can be confusing, but sometimes if you read the correct stuff, you can actually sit there and be like, okay, this actually makes sense.
Yeah.
This is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm experiencing. And it kind of gives you like a sense of consolation, really.
I was gonna say that's like the worst part when it comes to a lot of this education and different things, because there's so many different experts, and then when experts don't agree,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can I learn anything?
Who told me it was that?
what do you do now? You know what I'm saying?
Even the definition of stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know how you do it, because like, I don't know, I forgot what it is that I was experiencing. It was some type of pain, and then I was like, oh, I'm experiencing this, shoulder pain. He just gave me this long ass word, and this is what it meant, and this what I was like, bro, man, you put some ice, I'm good. Like,
Tell me something
but
easy.
yeah, it's just all these terminologies that you had to also learn and try to understand what it is that you're going through. But, wow.
I've
So-
got, no, you. No.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say. So, you mentioned currently you're going through therapy. Do you do that often or not at all? Or
I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to start like more specialized therapy soon, but I've been doing it with my psychiatrist for years, and it's just
Yeah.
I've
Probably
also
might
mentioned
like
you
it.
talk about on one of your interviews you did ECT.
yeah.
Do you also are you currently doing that too, or not? Not.
I
Or
haven't
you
done
just-
it in over a year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did that work? Yeah. It was very
What's
effective?
ECT? Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
So it's unfortunately known as shock therapy.
Okay.
Electroconvulsive therapy.
Electroconvulsive
Oh, yeah.
therapy. Back in the bad old days of treating mental illnesses,
Lobotomies and that, or whatever.
Yeah,
with
like
the brain.
my
yeah.
grandmother experienced, she had it without anesthetic, so she was awake for
Jeez.
it happening.
Wow.
But these days it's really safe,
Yeah.
quick, and you just go under general anesthetic for it. 20 minutes later you're awake. It's a last resort kind of treatment, so there's so many different things that can be done beforehand, and that works for everyone or a lot of people. Some cases, the scenario I've been in, that ends up being what works. But yeah, everything works differently for everyone. You can't, say this treatment's going to work for you because you don't know everyone. So it's so individualized.
That's wild.
What's it called?
ECT.
Do you still trying to remember what it stood for right now?
Let me try.
Go for it.
I didn't even hear what you said.
Close enough.
Ah, yeah.
He still doesn't know. He still doesn't know.
He's still trying to wrap it.
I was just going to ask, obviously, you've been through a lot and now you're doing amazing things. Where does Lauren see herself in 5 years from today?
We're trying to achieve.
One can only dream, but I wish I have my own foundation
Oh, yeah. Sick.
and I do things all over the world.
That's sick.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Definitely.
And
Okay.
also maybe like a partner and baby.
That's dope. Yeah.
Love that.
How has do you date? Has that been difficult, easy,
So nosy.
fun?
Oh
No,
my
like
gosh.
because I want to talk about everything.
He's like, I asked before, and she said everything's
I did ask
open.
before, is anything off? She's like, nope.
She's like, damn, I didn't think of that. Oh man.
I actually had a boyfriend like straight after my accident.
Oh yeah.
Like, straight after.
Yeah.
We broke up like about a year later.
Yeah.
We have absolutely nothing against each other. Just we both needed to grow ourselves,
Yeah.
mental. Yeah,
Yeah.
different places mentally.
Yeah.
Been on a few dates since with like guys, but
No.
No one
haven't
with it.
really.
Melbourne ain't cutting it. Pick up your slack,
Oh my God.
boys.
One date I went on. So I met him at a bar
Yeah.
with one of my friends, and he asked me on a date, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. I went, and he was late. No worries about that. Like, he had to help. It's a long
What
story
lie
short.
did he
had-
give
he had
you?
a good
That's the
excuse.
question.
He had a good
Yeah.
excuse.
He had a good excuse.
Across the road.
No. But it was like late at night, and he started taking me up to King Lake National Forest.
Well, yep. No, that's some red
Okay.
Yeah,
flags.
that, that doesn't sound very good.
Wait.
And I was freaking out. I was like,
You know when you're trying to keep it calm as
my
well at the same
phone's
time.
about to go flat.
Oh, dude.
Oh, nah, nope.
If I die tonight, like, this is my location.
You know where to find me.
Nah, he was a nice guy, but I was like, oh, that.
Yeah, not
Yo,
for
he
the
needs
first
to
date.
rewrite
Not for
that.
the first
Yeah,
date.
nah. Yo, we need to give him some kind
Not
of
for
book.
the first date.
Nah.
What the
Are you on dating apps or do you usually just find them like through friends?
No, I'm
Find
not
them.
dating
What'd you
apps.
say like that? Just find them through.
No, like through a friend.
No.
like
Meet
next to
people.
you.
That's
Meet
another
people.
word to use.
All my friends are taken, and all my group is taken, and
Yeah.
their group is taken. So.
So you gotta
Oh,
go
wow.
outside
I
the
know.
circle.
Maybe he's in Queensland. Who knows?
He's in Queensland.
Yeah, man. Melbourne. Maybe.
I think it's the season for everyone to be in a relationship. I think that's what's happening.
This is the season for relationships.
Yeah,
winter.
I feel like
During the
winter.
cold
It's winter.
seasons,
No one wants to
everyone
be
wants
alone
to
in
be,
winter.
Is that what it is?
cuddled up and all that. But during summer, everyone wants to be free.
Everyone's
Like, leave me
outside.
alone.
Watch all the breakups happening.
Everyone's breaking up.
Yeah, wow.
Oh gosh.
In line with the achieving question that Carlos asked before,
Yeah.
this is something to everyone as well, because I just thought it randomly during the week. Is there anything that you guys are scared to achieve? That it's like, this is a goal, and getting this goal, you're just scared of what that might bring,
Or might do to
or what might do to you in terms of how it might change you in any kind of way.
What are you trying to achieve, Dad?
Yeah.
No, just
Okay, Batman.
Wow.
Like ultimately, if you're setting a goal that you want to achieve, like why would there be something that you're scared of?
No, I can see.
know what I'm
like,
saying? Yeah, I'm
if
not-
you're talking
Unless
about
it's
like
like on a
financial success,
magnitude.
right? Like, let's say you're like, oh, I want to become a multimillionaire, and then you do, but you're scared that maybe having money would really change who you are. But
Oh no, give
I
it
feel
to
like
me.
if you
Oh,
do,
I want that.
like, I feel like if you're
Money will make me buy the Dior shoes I want.
Let's go.
Exactly.
yeah, like I don't know, it's like if you're secure in who you are already and all that, it's like why should anything material or even just achievement change you or how you view other people? I don't know.
It may.
But I can see it could
It may change your. No, it will definitely change for your stuff depending what the goal is, right? So, example, if you want to live somewhere else besides Melbourne, because that crossed my mind. I'm like, man, like, I think I want to explore and I think I want to live somewhere else, even go back to Africa and, and actually live there for like 2 years or something like that. But then now, to answer your question, it's more of like, okay, so what does that happen?
Yeah, like imagine now you're scared of the fact that you love it and now you want to stay there, and that means you're completely uprooting your whole life.
Yeah.
Or,
gotta
for
replace
example,
Carlos
like
now.
sometimes scared of
Lightweight.
like achieving a certain goal and then now becoming scared of the responsibility that the goal brings. You know what I mean? These kind of real questions like that. Not necessarily of like, okay, get money now, change. Like, it's not anything like that, but just what the goal actually does change sometimes too. You guys get
the goal will definitely change, like who knows? It might even change my relationship. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Depending if my partner's also.
I ain't trying to stay here.
If you're supposed to live in Sudan for 2 years, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, my family as well, my friends, again, like podcasts. What are you guys gonna do, huh? You guys gonna replace it? Yeah. But yeah,
Get
I
a Carlos that's actually Mexican.
So yeah, I think it would definitely change. So that might be, again, that's not my goal yet, but it's something that I've been thinking about. But if I do achieve that, that's what like I'm kind of afraid of. Where it's like, okay, what happens with the relationships that I built over here? I'm missing out on important moments as well. When if my friends have kids, I'm not in their kids' life like that. I want to be around like that kind of family, that community vibe. So this is gonna be a little bit more different. So I don't know. So yeah, but I know definitely I feel hurt some type of way.
Yeah.
But I gotta achieve.
I like how you're looking at me because I have to give an answer now.
Yeah, what's
don't I?
yours?
Clearly, you haven't thought of anything.
Because these guys, what's yours? You said nothing.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Small dreams. Okay,
I can see the responsibility thing like taking a toll, even if it's just with immediate family, where it's like, let's just say the money example. If you do now, you're making good money and like the responsibility of now I have to take care of my family or friends, that can become a burden on you.
The go-to person,
and now everyone knows like, okay. And it's like, sometimes people don't even put that pressure on you. You put that pressure on yourself,
100%.
Where it's like, now I have the obligation to take care of everyone else because I have the means to. Or even if it's like a place of influence now, where it's like, I have all these people under me who are, looking up to me. I have to present myself in a certain way where it's like, okay, maybe I don't want that pressure, or maybe I don't want that responsibility of like, everyone's eyes on me type of thing. I've got to be, whether it's like being an advocate for something or, being in the creative space, like podcasting, where it's like, this is the first podcast that's happening in Melbourne and now everyone's kind of looking to you to make sure. I mean, it's not, but it's like everyone's looking to you to make sure that, you're taking Melbourne, to greater heights with the podcast or whatever it is type of thing. So I guess, I can see the whole responsibility.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It wasn't a stupid question.
I do. Now that you say, I feel that in the sense. I feel that in the sense of, because I do want to have my own like business someday, like my own agency. The idea of, I don't know if it would change you, but I think like that pressure from the idea of having to ensure that I'm gonna pay salaries, like that would weigh on me quite heavily, and like I don't think it would make me move differently, but like I'm scared of it changing me to become like very conservative with my risks or whatnot, just because I'm like, bruh, like I actually need to feed these people as well.
No, it's like, sorry, I can't pay this week, guys. Client didn't pay us. So But yeah, that makes sense.
Damn, I really thought I'd have something in that space of time, but I haven't. But it's a good question. Let us know in the comments what you guys think as well.
Before Lauren gives an answer.
Do you have any?
Anything you're scared to achieve?
Well, I've, like, for the longest time, I've wanted to become a mother. And I can't wait, like, so excited. But I'm also now so scared to achieve it. Like, okay, this is more of a joke, but on hot days, like, I can't wear prosthetic legs because I'm, like, out here. Like swelling. So your swelling, for example, will go down to your feet.
Yeah.
Mine goes there. It's like I'm just like, I want kids, but I'm scared for pregnancy because I know that I won't be able to walk and I won't be able to
That's a
run
very
around
real
after
answer.
kids
Yeah.
or like, I won't be able to chase after
Run
them.
after them, yeah.
Well, I guess like what we're hearing from you though is like you're still someone that's stubborn at the end of the day too. So it's like
You'll find a way.
you know you find a way of like, nah, I'll make this work.
I'll
But
be in the wheelchair.
yeah, no, but
No,
that's definitely a very beautiful goal to
It
like
is.
definitely
It
achieve,
is.
and I don't see why like the fear. I think ultimately like why the fear of achieving it should stop us from still wanting to achieve it at the end of the day, whatever the goal might be in whatever regard to. So, nah, you find your way in the same stubbornness. So, no,
It's funny. We were talking about kids last night. We're like, we love the idea of it, but also it's really scary, the idea of
It
having
is.
kids. Like,
it's a lot.
you actually have to make these people good for society. like you really do have to. Like, it's kind of scary.
Imagine having a naughty kid, bro.
Mum always says that your kids are going to be like how you were when you were growing up and when you were a teenager. And
Yeah.
she looks at me now and she goes, "You're fucked."
It's a long day.
Yeah,
Oh,
mum's
man.
got jokes.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
But
I love that.
yeah. Is there anything that like people can tune into that you're up to now or look forward to that you'd be involved in or doing in the coming however long? Yeah.
I'm filming for the House of Wellness TV show on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that something coming out soon or it's already out at the moment or the House of Wellness? Sorry, is
The
it?
show, it's,
yeah.
I don't even know myself.
Yeah. Just
I think
gigs
it's
left, right.
No, it's on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's shows on Sundays.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
It's cool.
Awesome.
Dope.
Keep an eye on that for sure.
Yeah, just doing lots of different speeches for like Lip Timber at the moment, then Chemist Warehouse and L'Oreal, and it's just
Back to back.
Yeah. Says it like it's small name.
These are big things.
It's a pretty big deal.
gigs, Yeah.
That's cool. That's impressive.
Global and national companies. It all is.
I love it.
No, that's
That's
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that's the well, like honestly, thanks so much for like
Yeah.
Thank you.
sharing.
Thank you for
and
having
being
me.
open.
Thank you.
And honestly, shout out to you for all that you've been able to achieve and continue to achieve as well. It's
Thank you so
beautiful.
much.
Yeah, no, it's honestly beautiful to like be able to share that with other people. And
Yeah,
we hope
also
people
just
listening
educating us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've learned a lot today.
and with humor at the same time
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope
so-
this was as fun for you as it was for us.
Yeah, she's like, I am never coming back here.
I'm
again."
also like
Last podcast.
No, I honestly
No, thank
appreciate
you,
you. So
yeah.
thanks so much. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. If you were listening, make sure you follow Lauren. It's at Lauren_McDonough. Is that right?
We'll
Yeah.
put it there.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we'll
It'll
put
be
it. We'll
right
put it
there.
for sure.
Yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode with people as well. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace out.
Thank you.
Latest. Peace.
Thank you.
That was very
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you. How was it?
It was fun.
Good, yeah.